happening, everyone? We are back. We're back for a action-packed 25 minutes or so of Mr. Herb's breaking down, start to finish, what happened, SEC, Richard Hart, amazing news lately. We're going to get right into it. Again, get your questions in the chat. No promises or expectations. We'll get to them, but boy, got a lot of stuff to go through. Welcome back to the show for the N-teeth time. Dr. Herbs, how's it going?
It is always good to be here with you, Max. Thanks for having me back on.
People call you doctor, or you just
Nope.
No?
You're the only one so far.
Just today. All right, I'll take it. A doctor of truth and legal, not advice. Is that right?
Yeah, technically Juris Doctor, but it doesn't really work that way. So
I like it. Well, I'm going to start it off with this, and I want to get into the start to finish piece for people who are just tuning in. But this is live from the scene and the courtroom. That's what I've heard.
Nice.
That's what I've heard. I came across this recently. Appreciate whoever put SEC and RH on that.
So I'm going to guess Richard's been living somewhere tropical with that tan.
He's got a, we never know what he's going to look like when he comes back. We're hoping he's that gentleman looks like he's in some kind of shape. But regardless, getting kicked in the face after political persecution, we always like to see that.
Yep, for sure.
In between. So can you, that's what I wanted to break down too for new people who are watching or don't know much about it or otherwise. What is, start to finish, like just in like little chunks and stuff too. Was August 2023, SEC charges Richard Hart with these list of things we went through a million times, and then kind of take us from there. Like what has been the major events leading up to this second time at winning?
Well, if we go all the way back to the beginning, it was, there was the SEC case was filed, and obviously, everybody kind of went crazy, price dumped, lots of bad things happened. Nobody knew where Richard was or what Richard was going to do at the time, and we had to essentially wait until January of 23 to find out, when he showed up with his legal team, and they started filing things on his behalf. And from there, they basically said, "Hey, we're here and we're filing a motion to dismiss, and so let's get that briefing schedule done and let's get started on this, because we don't think you have jurisdiction over our client, and we don't think you have a case even if you do." So that's kind of how it all started back in the beginning of 2024. So
was it 20? So so summer 23 is when the case came out, right?
Yeah, July 31st, 2023.
That's right, July 2023. And then going through 2024, we had the October hearings. Yeah, maybe we could talk about that for a second. When a lot of the community went to New York, had the oral arguments. Is that right?
That is correct. Yeah, on October 31st, Halloween. Yeah, right. The motion to dismiss was finally briefed up, and it was after an 8-month-long briefing schedule, which is really just honestly unheard of. I've never seen anything take that long for any kind of motion briefing in my life, but it happened because both parties requested it, so the judge gave it to them. And then we had a pretty good oral argument in October. If you I know we had 70 something, I think 80 people there or something like that in the courtroom and in the overflow courtroom. And then we had I know that Zenith and Wild SJ and Will Stevenson did a video essentially reading the transcript in character, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
So if you hadn't seen that, you might want to check that out. I think Gerardo also put out an AI version of it too.
Yeah, but I did a couple good ones.
Yeah, so and that's basically after October 31st, we were just stuck in a holding pattern, waiting for the judge to decide. And you just never know when that's going to come out, but you keep hoping that you get the right ruling, and it looks like we did.
And since even before the SEC charged and stuff, I mean, Richard had stopped streaming, stopped doing spaces. We really only seen pre-recorded videos, pieces like that from them. But however, whoever is whoever has the keys to the SAC funds, OA, all that stuff, during this period of time, we've seen money move around. Maybe he, we could speculate he felt muzzled, or based on his lawyer's advice or otherwise during the case to not do like live events or things like that too. But
Right.
you can see apparently no problem moving funds around and operating on that kind of basis.
Yeah, that's interesting. We always speculate that it's him, but it could be, part of any kind of organization or or somebody on his behalf or whatever the case is. I seriously doubt that he has it in has all this stuff in one wallet where, if he died, it all stays with, it's lost forever. I seriously doubt there's anything like that. He's a lot smarter than that. So, I guess we'll know someday.
Yeah. Now that I've heard this since Tornado Cash is no longer on the OFAC sanctions list. Weird that even happened. Weird that you could sanction a smart contract or a front end or however they did it. People have been free to use it to express their movement of funds and privacy and everything else too. New administration, I think, has opened up a lot of doors. We can touch on the new SEC chief as well. But coming into, so we got October waiting period for a while, and then what was it? Was it maybe 60 days ago? Was it February? We heard
February 28th, I think it came out.
Was the dismissal? Yeah, that was the judge. Yeah, can you explain that too? Like what it came from a dismissal from the judge?
Yes, that's correct. She she ruled on the motion to dismiss. So she found that Richard had basically proved his side and won on the issues that he thought he should win on. And so she dismissed all of the SEC's claims. And all she did was give the SEC an additional, time to, refile an amended complaint, which is not entirely uncommon. It's something that happens on a regular enough basis, where if they think they can cure the deficiencies the judge noted, you can file an amended complaint and try again, essentially. It just turns out that they couldn't. So that's good for us. Very good for us. They didn't have the facts they needed to file an amended complaint. Otherwise, who knows what would have happened. Yeah, there we go. Let's get that done. Let's get that. I'd love to see that pop out one day from Richard's account. Like, you want to do a live stream? Hell yeah. Oh, I think I've lost it. I have no audio from you, Max.
Oh,
I can
sorry.
see your lips moving.
Sorry. I'm back. Okay. I forgot to unmute. I said, that brings us to present day, where the court, SEC filed this one to, basically say they don't intend to file an amended complaint. So what does that mean exactly for people reading this? This is, is everything over? Do we have another waiting period? Like, what does that mean for the case?
Yeah, the process right now is it's dead in the trial court. The trial court's going to formally enter the dismissal, and that's what starts the appellate clock in any case on this planet, or in any case in any federal court in the United States. You always have a time. There's always a clock where you can file a notice of appeal, and it turns out you and I, as citizens, get 30 days. The government gets 60 because the government gets to write the rules for the government. So. Not entirely fair, but it is the way it is. So, realistically, in order to successfully appeal a decision like this, the judge would have had to make errors of law, like how she applied the facts the SEC gave her to the law that's been in effect forever. This is personal jurisdiction law, and it's been around for quite some time. It's not new. It's not new to crypto. It's not new to anything. It's been around since the 40s, essentially, with some minor modifications. But her analysis was completely solid, and there's no window for the SEC to appeal this. No opportunity where they can file a successful appeal, because there's nothing that the judge did or said that would allow them to, kind of open that door. And realistically, that's the SEC's fault. The SEC is the one who put the facts that the judge used to decide the case into the complaint. If the SEC wanted to do a better job writing the complaint, they should have, but the judge ruled based on what the SEC gave them, not any facts that Richard gave them. This is all on whatever the SEC failed to put into their complaint. So appealing it is borderline frivolous, if not actually frivolous.
Yeah, and with the new administration at the SEC and stuff too, it seems like they don't have an appetite to go after much of anyone these days, let alone like just keep beating the dead horse in this case.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I think this would have required, from what I understand, commissioner approval, and they didn't get it. So clearly, that tells us something about how the new SEC thinks.
So it sounds like, according to this Nuclear Herbs guy's tweet here, judge got the green light from parties that formally entered the dismissal, expected tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest. We wait on another document?
Yeah, we're waiting on just the final entry. That's it. It should happen either, I guess it's not going to happen today, but I'd look for it tomorrow. I'd be surprised if it goes more than another day or two. It's just essentially writing up the, it's a formality that has to happen in order to close the case out at the trial court level.
And then, so from that date, like 60 days, what does the clock mean from 60 days? Like, what are we waiting on for 60 days from now? That takes us into June. Yeah,
the only thing that the SEC could do at that point would be to file a notice of appeal, and they have to do it within that window. They don't have to file the briefing, because that doesn't happen yet. That briefing schedule gets set by the court, but I'm not going to worry about it. I don't think they're going to appeal. I don't think they have grounds to appeal, and I'm just going to sit here and wait out the 60 days, because I don't believe for 1 second that they've got the goods to appeal.
And even if they did appeal, like, what would they have to have that's different than now?
They would have to show that the judge made an error of law, and I don't see where that could have happened. It's not like she used the wrong cases. It's not like she, had witness testimony and just interpreted it wrong or something like that. There was nothing there, and the judge continued to grill the SEC on what they had, and the SEC kept saying, we don't have that. We don't have that. So, where are they going to go from here? There's nowhere to go.
Wow. That's crazy. So 60 days. So from that date, do you think that, if Richard is, again, this could or could not be, but if he is waiting for everything to be final for at least the SEC to live stream, do you think there's any, is there anything that you can imagine his lawyers are advising him to don't do it until after 60 days? Like, what do you think they would?
I don't know. Like I've said before, I tell people to shut up until the case is completely over. So, what's 60 days? It's a blip on the radar. Let it, just let it pass by. You've already been 2 years already. Like, I'm kind of hoping that we see something from him, even if it's pre-recorded on PulseChain's anniversary. But I can wait a little bit longer for a live stream if that's what he wants to do, just to be safe.
That's a good point. 3 weeks until anniversary, 2-year anniversary of PulseChain. Yeah, I don't think I was just talking earlier today on stream with Triplet Dad and Fast Abdul, and we were talking about when live stream, all that stuff, and yeah, I think that he's got to be in in the clear and lots of things, and also momentum. Like, I think he wants to come back and really ride it up. I don't think he wants to come back and be like, all right, let's talk about the prices for the next 6 months and they suck. Like, I imagine.
That's a fair enough point. Yeah, that sounds very Fast Abdul-ish right there.
Well, no, that was my point I was making.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was. I don't think he was in a vehement disagreement. I don't remember that. Yeah. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if that's a factor too, because again, to your point, too, you waited this long. It's like you're gonna come back and just hear people crying about the price and ask you to pump it and all that stuff too. I think a lot of that's red candle syndrome, anyways. I think a lot of it will go away and people won't be so desperate to get the 2x or 5x, which is
of course
so laughable in the 10,000x ecosystem.
Right.
Amazing. I got one question in chat. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Say Loyal X asking, thank you, Nuclear Herbs. You have been awesome. Continues to be awesome. Question: dismissed with prejudice, correct? It
should be, yeah. Because if the court lacks jurisdiction, it should be dismissed with prejudice. I mean, we'll see it in the formal written order, but yes, I'd put lots of money that it would be dismissed with prejudice.
And we'll see that on the document coming out tomorrow.
That's correct. Yeah.
All right. I know you love talking about Interpol. You see that CC tagged you on this one or replied to this one as well. The legal opinion on red notice. I remember you reaching out to the Finland folks. Maybe just catch everyone up to speed on like what happened there and what I guess what we're waiting on that.
Yeah, we don't really know what we're waiting on since they won't release any facts of any case. So it's a little weird. I mean, I've emailed directly with the detective that was quoted in a lot of those articles. I've emailed directly with the court staff at the Helsinki court. They just claim that there's no public information they can give out, it blows my mind seeing the American legal system where I can literally go into any courthouse and pick up the charging documents and read exactly what somebody's being charged with and what all the facts are. So this is really bizarre to me, and I don't really understand how you can have it closed. Like, hey, we think you committed a crime. Oh yeah, what kind? Like, well, we're not going to tell you. Like, what are you kidding me? Like that's North Korea. That ain't Finland. So I'm confused, but I have every reason to think that Richard is going to he's handling this in the same way he handled the SEC thing. Like he was behind the scenes and told everybody when he was ready. And I'm sure there's something along those lines where he's handling this stuff behind the scenes with a tier 1 legal team, and we'll find out when he wants us to find out. And I guess we just got to hang out until then.
Doesn't it make sense that in the background his legal team would be working on this, doing what they can to be like, okay, what is it going to take for this thing to go away? What are the options? All those pieces, and then have a coordinated process where it is kind of like there isn't this, everyone's like, oh, just turn yourself in. It's like, that seems like the worst strategy ever. Like, oh, just do what you want, Finland, like country out there. Like, no, like why wouldn't you let your lawyers like work something out in the meantime,
right?
And then go in.
Right. That's the way I would do it too. I mean, why put yourself in any risk and when you don't have to? I mean, lawyers manage risk and they can manage it from a distance for you. So let the lawyers do their job.
Is there a difference between red notice being from Finland and being from America, for example? Like, can we just ignore other countries? I don't know. Like, I'm going with the question.
All right. So give you that one more time.
Yeah. I mean, is there a, are we able to just be like, okay, some of these countries, do they hold more weight than others as far as like red notice stuff goes? Or
oh, I have no idea. All I know is that it's supposed to be anybody who cooperates with Interpol is supposed to detain someone who is on their list if they get hold of them. There's a lot of countries that aren't cooperating with Interpol, and I'm going to assume for now that Richard is in one of those, because that's where I would be. Like, why would I expose myself to being potentially picked up while I'm at dinner? That doesn't make any sense.
I'm just thinking like, I don't know how these things work, but if there's this country, if they put you on a red notice, then it's like maybe more politically like it means less than well, like maybe some are more, let's use this country, they do our political stuff for us. But if it's like America, for example, like, no, we're only gonna go after people we really want to get for whatever stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at there's a lot of criticism of Interpol and the abuse of red notices. There's an entire process to have somebody delisted from that because, but unfortunately, from what I understand, it takes like 6 months to a year to get, even from whenever you start to get a ruling on whether or not you were wrongly placed on the Interpol red notice. So I mean, I guess it's kind of like the getting on the TSA's no-fly list. I mean, you have options to get off it, but good luck. It's going to take you 2 years.
Would we know if his team had already started a process to get him delisted from Interpol?
I seriously doubt it. I seriously doubt that would be public information.
So it could be, again, pure speculation, but it could already be a process to be like, guys, don't do that. That's not appropriate. And and they're just going to settle otherwise with Finland, or just be like, no, Finland doesn't have any jurisdiction. I don't know. Here doesn't have any, claim to them type of deal. And you just settle up with your own like local tax thing.
Right. I guess we'll find, again, we're just gonna have to find out when we find out. It's frustrating to try and guess at it all because, we really don't know anything other than Finland wants a shitload of money and thinks he beat somebody up. But,
when you say it out loud, it just sounds even more ridiculous.
It is, because it is ridiculous. We don't know at this point if it's self-defense, right? I mean, self-defense is a defense to a charge, right? So you get charged with assault and your claim is self-defense, right? It's a defense to a charge. So we don't even know what the charge is yet, and we don't know what his defenses are possibly out there. So this is all silly. It's all silly just waiting for stuff like this. But I've done as much research as I can, and I've gotten really just nowhere. The only thing I've gotten to is the actual source, the detective source, and he basically told me to go pound sand and go talk to the FBI, which I found absurd because, like, what the hell does the FBI have to do with a charge in Finland?
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like he was just directing you towards your local law enforcement deal and just trying to get you not answer.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're trying to guess our way into hopium, I guess, from time to time as well, because the lack of transparency and knowing what's going on over there is interesting. But at least with we got some answers on SEC, and that's Richard Hart, good guy, go forward, do great things. You think hopeful for the ecosystem?
I'm very hopeful. That's why I'm still around. There's a lot of us that are still here, stuck by him the whole time, knowing full well that this was going to end up this way, or at least hoping that it was going to end up this way. And let's hope that I'm sure he's monitored the ecosystem enough to know that he still has a lot of support out here, and and people are looking forward to seeing him again. So let's hope we see it soon.
Let's do it. nuclearherbsx.com/nuclearherb, the most nuclear of herbs I've heard. Always appreciate you. Yeah, you, like I said, you and a lot of other people have been here. As been here when we need you. So never can thank you enough. Really appreciate it.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me back on.
Of course. We'll make it too long in between. We got a PulseChain conference, if nothing else, coming up in a couple weeks as well. Pulse Conference 2055, legal panel headed by Nuclear Herbs and maybe a Zenith sighting or two.
Bring a Zenith on with me. I like talking to him.
We like bringing Zenith on. He says smart things. He does. Good. It's pretty good. All right, everyone. That's all we got for you today. Scivive and 5555. We are out.